Hello friends, our today's lab is regarding the DHCP relay in Cisco setup. Here in the Cisco setup, DHCP relay is the term, basically the term DHCP relay is referred to as a IP helper. Here we have setup in which we have four different VLANs with respect to their respective networks. So VLAN 10 has a network 192.168.10.0, VLAN 20 has a network 20.0, VLAN 30 has a network 30.0, and VLAN 40 has a network 40.0. All these four networks are um, um, connected uh, on a single switch, and they will be assigned IP address from a distinct DHCP server which is not on the same network. In fact, it is on a separate network away from these uh, uh, um, away from these networks. Here we have another PC which will be connected on the same network with the DHCP server. We will learn how to configure IP helper uh, on um, Cisco setup. So let's start our configuration here. First, we will configure our switch 0, which is basically accommodating all these four networks. Here, this PC 10.0 is connected on port 1, 20.0 is connected on port 2, 30.0 is connected on 3, and 40.0 is connected on port 4. And this is the gig 0 slash 1, which is connected with the gig 0 slash 1 of the router. Here we have a serial connection between these two routers. 0 slash 3 slash 0 of both the routers are connected with each other, and similarly same is the scenario here where gig 0 slash 1 is connected with the gig 0 slash 1 of this switch. So let's start our configuration. Here we have a switch. We will configure IP helper on this switch. First we will configure VLANs, and then we will configure IP helper on the respective router. Enable terminal, host name is H1. We have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30, and VLAN D. Interface fast Ethernet 0 slash 1, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. Interface Ethernet 0 slash 2, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. Interface fast Ethernet 0 slash 3, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 30. Interface fast Ethernet 0 slash 4, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 40. Now we will configure our trunk port, which is the gig 0 slash 1. Interface for gig 0 slash 1, switch port mode trunk. Now we will configure our router 0, enable config terminal, host name router 1, interface gigabyte 0 slash 1, shutdown, IP we will configure our sub interfaces on this interface 0/1 gig 0/1 interface gig 0/1 dot 10 encapsulation dot 1q 10 IP address 192.168.10.1 255.255.255.0. Now we will configure our IP helpers, basically the IP address of the DHCP server here with a command IP helper address 192.168.50.100. This is the IP address of our DHCP server. IP helper, and this is done. Now we will configure our second sub interface gigabit 0/1 dot 20 encapsulation dot 1q20 IP address 192.168.20.1 subnet mask. IP helper for this network as well 192.168.100. Exit interface gigabit 0/1 dot 30 encapsulation dot 1q30 IP address 192.168.30.1255.255.255.0 IP helper 192.168.50.100 interface gigabit 0/1 encapsulation interface gigabit 0/1 dot 40 encapsulation dot 1q40 and IP address is 192.168.40.1255.255.255.0. We have to configure IP helper 192.168.50.100. Done. Okay. Interface serial 0/3/0. No shutdown. Clock rate 64,000 and IP address will be, this is the network, so we will assign the first IP address of this interface. Two five five dot 255.0. Exit. Here we will use OSPF as a routing protocol on these two routers in order to communicate different networks with each other. So router OSPF 1 network 192.168.10.0 wildcard mask area 0 network 192.168.20.0 wildcard mask and area 0 network 192.168.30.0 network 192.168.40.0 wildcard area 0, network 1.1.0, wildcard mask as 0. If it is done, now we will configure our uh, this side here. We will configure our switch. We will configure terminal, host name, switch 2, and VLAN 50. Now we will configure interface gigabit 0 slash interface fast ethernet 0 slash 1 to 2 interface range fast ethernet 2 switch port mode access VLAN 50 interface fast ethernet 0 slash gigabit 0 slash 1 switch port mode. Here we have uh, mm, 0 slash gig 0 slash 1 and gig 0 slash 1. So we can configure this port as an access port and this port, and then we will assign an IP address directly to this interface. So guys, let's see how I'll configure it. Switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 50, exit to right. Config terminal, host name, router 2, interface gig 0 slash 1, no shutdown. And now I will configure an IP address on this interface. This IP address will act as a gateway for this network of 192.168.50. IP address 192.168.50.1. Subnet mask is this. Do right. Interface serial 0 slash 3 slash 0. No shutdown. You can see this is up now. We will assign the IP address. IP address is 1.1.1.2 255.255.0. Now we will configure our routing protocol here, as we have configured OSPF on our router 1. So I'll configure OSPF on this router as well. Router OSPF 1 network 192.168.50.0 wildcard mask and area 0. Network 1.1.1.0 wildcard mask and area 0. To right. It is synced. Routes of both the routers have been synced now. Now we will configure our DHCP server. Desktop, we will assign the IP address 192.168.50.100 192.168.50.1 is the gateway. Services DHCP. Pool 1 is VLAN 10. Default gateway for VLAN 10 will be 192.168.10.1. DNS server will be this. 10 dot start IP is 101. Subnet mask. Maximum number of users will be 150. Add. Similarly for VLAN 20, 20, 20. Add. VLAN 30, 30, 30. And add VLAN 40, 40, 40. VLAN 50, 50, 50. And add. Okay, services. We have switch on the services. Now we will configure DHCP on each device. Let's check whether it gets IP address or not. It has been assigned with an IP address from this server. Similarly, you can see DHCP server has assigned the IP address, DNS, and gateway. This is done here. Let me check. The IP address is DHCP server 50. Default gateway is 50. Why it is not assigning the okay, it is the local network, that is why I think it is not assigning the gateway, but it should assign the gateway to this. Okay friend, our main theme is the IP helper we configured on this network, on these networks in fact. So these networks are getting IP addresses from this DHCP server, which is a resided on another network or this away from these networks. This is how you can configure IP helper or DHCP relay on Cisco setup. If you have any query regarding this lab, you can ask me in the comments. Thank you.